Should you sell an inherited house? Should you keep it? Should you rent it? Or what about if one of the family members actually wants to buy you out? These decisions involve a lot of thinking. What the property value is, what the monthly expenses are, family relationships, long-term responsibilities. There's a lot that goes into the thought process of what you should do with the inherited property. Today, in this video, I'm going to give you the most important questions your family should answer before making any of these decisions regarding the property. So, first thing that we want to go over is, what is the house really worth? Now, this can be hard sometimes for families when they're separating the emotional value versus the actual market value. Find out what the current as is value is. No repairs, no fix-ups, just selling as is. What would that home be worth? Then you want to say, what is a potential value after I would do repairs? I would fix it up, I would clean it up. What would it look like? Now you want to write down, what are the cost of those repairs? And when you're evaluating the cost of the repairs, it's very important to also include the time value, okay? Because even though there's not a monetary value on time, but how much time will it take for you to do the repairs, to get through the probate, to complete all the processes, so that you can add up what the time that it would take to get it done, and then also the expenses. Now, other expenses that you have to consider when you're making this decision are, is there anything owned against the property, like a mortgage, a lien, HOA dues, assessments, which is a big thing in the marketplace now. And then you need to compare, what is the estimate net proceeds. So not the sale price, but what is it that the family's actually going to get once they were to sell the property, pay everything off. How much would each person receive as part of the sale of the inherited property? So focus mainly on what the family would actually receive, not what the expenses are that they've paid, or what the main sales price would be, but what they would actually net at the closing. Now, this is a question, okay? Can your family afford to keep it? Okay. So when you're inheriting a house, it doesn't always mean a free house. Okay. There's a lot I always say that real estate is alive and breathing, right? So it may have a mortgage. It definitely has property taxes, even if the mortgage is paid off, insurance policy to cover the property, HOA payments, ongoing maintenance that the property needs, and any repairs or upcoming repairs. So that's something that a lot of families don't take into consideration, is that a roof only lasts for about 15 years, right? So what is the age of the roof on this property? Are you inheriting a home that is literally going to need a new roof like in the next couple months, or your insurance policy is going to cancel? That is something you want to consider. You want to find out if there's any major repairs that the home's going to be needing in the upcoming near future, right? I've been to many houses where I get to the property and the air conditioner is not working, right? The air conditioner's broke down. So the family is immediately thrust into, yes, you inherited this house, but now you're going to have to put in a $10,000 air conditioning unit, right? So these things make a big decision when you're figuring out what to do with the house. So we're going to find out, can the family afford the property while you're going through probate? Can the family keep the house from creating financial pressure on the family? The last thing that you'd want to do is get into a situation where the family has a mortgage on the property, and now all of a sudden you can't pay the mortgage on the property, and now the property's getting foreclosed on. So these are, before you actually decide on, should I keep the property, we really need to calculate what is the true monthly holding cost and what is the yearly cost that will affect your decision making. So, one common thing that comes up when you're going through this process with your family is, what if one family member wants to keep the property and buy the other family members out of the property? Okay, this is a very popular process that happens when you're dealing on an estate that has multiple people involved. So a buyout may be an option when there's one person that wants to keep the house, or if there's one person that wants to live in the house, and they will basically take their share of the inheritance, and then they will go ahead and buy out the other beneficiaries, and then everybody gets an equal share of the property, right? So the first step to being able to go ahead and do that is really evaluating what is the property value. So a lot of times I see families do this and they just make up agreements amongst each other, and don't get a professional evaluation of what the property's worth. So you want to pretend as if the family were to sell this property on the open market, how much would it be valued at? Okay. And then based off of what that valuation is, now you can do this through an appraisal. You can hire an appraisal to do an appraisal for you on the property. You can have a professional like myself do a CMA for you so that you know what it is. And then from there, that, let's just say an example, the house was worth, $400,000. Let's use the example that there was 4 heirs that had an equal interest in the property. So one heir may need to, basically their share would be 100,000, right? So they would have to get a mortgage, use their personal funds, do a refinance on an existing loan, qualify for some financing for 300,000. Okay. So the house is worth 400, but they only need to get a loan for 300,000 because they're keeping their 100,000 as equity as part of the property. And then the 100,000 would be dispersed out to the heirs. So when this conversation is happening in your family, a very important thing to consider is the family member that is saying they want to do this, are they financially capable of doing this? Are they going to qualify financially? Because I have seen family members say that they want to buy the heirs out, but yet they don't have a job and they don't have the financial means. So we need to, address that, because otherwise they're going to drag out the estate process from what is inevitable they're not going to be able to do. Okay. So, because what happens if the financing gets denied? The heirs are there waiting, they're incurring all the expenses. And so you need to really establish a firm deadline. If there's a family member that has expressed interest in doing this, you need to make sure that they're qualified. You need to have a deadline, and you need to make sure you're all on the same page as far as what is the property value. Now, this is something that I want to share is I hear families saying, no, we're going to keep the property. We're going to keep the property. Okay, that's amazing. And who wouldn't want to inherit a property from their loved one? Maybe it's paid off. Maybe it's free and clear. Now, this is all fine and dandy when it's one person in the estate. So you may have, been the only child and you're inheriting, your dad's property. Great. Okay. Most estates that I work in, it's not just one person. It's normally 3 people, 5 people. In fact, the biggest estate I ever had was 23 people. Okay. So when you talk about keeping the house, in the moment, that may make a lot of sense for emotional reasons and just reasons that you want to keep the property. However, when you are taking joint ownership, okay, in property, you are now going to be all equally responsible. So who's going to pay the mortgage? Who's paying the annual property taxes? How is the insurance getting paid? How is the HOA getting paid, right? Who's paying for the utilities? Who's paying for the repairs? Remember when we talked about the house is going to need a new roof? How is that going to be handled amongst all the beneficiaries, right? And from what I have seen in cases where, the family just inherits it, it goes into everybody's name, is then one person ends up being the primary person that, ends up being the responsible person taking care of things. But guess what happens? If they are not gonna pay, like let's say there's a property tax bill and you own it with your brother, okay? And you call up your brother and say, hey brother, we've got the property tax, we gotta pay it, it's $4,000. I'll go ahead and have my 2,000, I need your 2,000. And brother says, oh sister, I apologize, but I can't afford it. I can't give you the 2,000 for the property. Well, guess what? Now sister is put in a very difficult position, because if you don't pay the property taxes, then you are going to get a possible tax violation where they can actually take your property because you didn't pay the property taxes. So the sister ends up getting forced into covering the financial expenses for the property. However, you guys don't own the property. You guys own the property 50-50. So even though you've been paying for everything, your brother is still entitled to a full 50%. Okay. So you can kind of do your creation here and see how this can get really challenging. Now, another thing that comes up is that when you inherit a property with multiple people, okay, in the event that one of those people passes away, okay, so let's say that you owned it with you and your brother, and then brother passes away and brother had 5 kids, right? Now you own the property with you and now your brother's 5 children, right? So the same way that you would need brother to participate in anything you do with the house, now you would need all 5 of his children to participate in how you take care of the house, right? So this can get very diluted in over time. At the beginning, I think people all have the best interest, but over time, I think it gets a little slippery, and just in who's putting in more, sweat equity, who's putting in financially more, who's maintaining the house, who's going by, who's doing the property management on it. So disagreements can really come up, and over time of, we want to sell the house. Well, I want to sell. I don't want to sell. I want to refinance. I don't want to refinance. These can get really slippery at this stage of it. So some of the key things that you want to keep in mind is if joint ownership becomes the one family decision today, it can actually turn into a very complicated scenario years from now. So you want to speak with your attorney. If your family, you're saying, Carolyn, that's not going to happen in my family. We're very tight knit. What I recommend is working directly with your probate attorney or an estate law attorney or a real estate attorney on developing a property trust so that you can have clear written ownership agreements as far as, who's responsible for expenses, who's responsible for the ownership, what happens if someone stops contributing, what happens if somebody passes away, so that way when life happens, right, you guys will be protected and you won't be, because I've seen a lot of families that years down the road, they contact us and they're like, my sister's not cooperating. We want to sell, but my sister refuses and we're having a really hard time, right? So this is where you can totally avoid that entire situation. So really the questions that help it to be very clear is asking yourself this one question, okay? If this house never belonged to your loved one, okay, if this house was not a part of your family, would you or would your family choose to buy this house today, okay? And I love to ask families this question because that really removes the emotional component from it. Because if you and your brothers and sisters want to own this property, how about you guys sell this inherited home, take that money, and go buy an asset that is an income producing property or a property that would make the best investment sense, right? Because a lot of times your loved one bought this because at that time, usually like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, it made sense to own this property at that time, right? But today, it may not make the most sense, right? So consider the location, consider the condition, okay? Consider the monthly cost. Consider what it would be owning this property with other family members, the financial risk, and ultimately, what is the long-term goals for the family? Because guys, you can still honor your loved one without keeping the property, okay? Because if the property is going to create financial stress or family conflict, I believe your loved one would have wanted you to take the resources, take the proceeds from the sale and go bless your life, make your life easier, not make it more difficult. So if you've inherited a property here in Florida and you're trying to decide whether to sell it, whether to keep it, whether to rent it, or do a whole family buyout, schedule a free consultation with us. We can help you understand what the property value is, compare your options, and create a clear plan for your family. And if your family does decide to sell, the next step is understanding how inherited sales actually work. In this next series, on number 4, I'm going to be walking through the exact process from preparing the house to accepting the offer and working with your probate attorney, the title company, and what it looks like at the closing table. So watch the next screen to see number 4.